Welcome back to those of you who are watching this on my YouTube channel. Thank you so very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate it. For those of you that are listening on my podcast, Nonprofit Nuggets with Jennifer Yarbrough, welcome back. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for taking notes. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for reaching out and letting me know how this information is impacting you and your understanding and clarity about starting and growing and leading a nonprofit organization. Listen, I want to dive right in today. I want to dive right in. And if I were to put a title to this particular section or segment, it would be called The Grant Myth and the AI Shortcut and the nonprofits paying the price. Okay. Paying the price. For those of you all who have been following me for any amount of time, you all know that I am a nonprofit expert. I've been working in the nonprofit space for over 39 years. I have held many positions within the nonprofit organization. I've been the director of development. I've been the grant writer. I've been the vice president. I've been the executive director. So working in the day-to-day of the nonprofit space is something that I am very well aware of. And for those of you that have an aspiration to start a nonprofit, but have never worked in a nonprofit, have never run a nonprofit, have never strategized on how to fund the nonprofit or build a team around the strategic plan of a nonprofit, then I'm speaking to you. All right. I'm speaking specifically to you. In my last um in my last podcast, we talked about why the belief start a nonprofit and you'll get a grant. Where did that come from? Where did the idea of start a nonprofit and you can get funding? Where did that come from? Right? Not only are you a registered tax exempt revenue generating organization, but understanding where and why the money comes, right? You, as a not for profit organization, you who are structured to receive tax exempt revenue, have to also make the connection of where does this money come from? All right. So I want to go back and give a very real historical context. Okay. A historical context, particularly between the time of 1950s to the 1990s. In my last conversation with you, we talked about the aid era funding model, right? We talked about missions and church-based dependency. We talked about foreign donors bringing money, systems, and staff, particularly to the African regions, right? The Southern global regions. We talked about local groups running programs, but not organizations. And we talked about how that thinking quickly spread globally and here also in the United States. I want you to go back and listen to that previous conversation. All right, just scroll up one or go back one, and you'll be able to catch up from that previous conversation. But here's what we didn't talk about. What we did not talk about is why that same mindset did not disappear. It only got worse. And that's where AI and online tools come in. Let me say this clearly before we go any further, okay? AI did not create this problem, but it accelerated it, it normalized it, it scaled it. All right. What's the problem? The problem was at a time during the AIDS epidemic, right? During a time where there was a lot of hunger, there was a lot of homelessness, there was a lot of epidemic. And particularly in certain areas of the world, and I'm going to focus primarily in the African region, um, not to isolate, but because I have so many followers from that area and from that region, I just want to explain it in context. All right. I'm not picking on a region. I just want to use it as a realistic example. So during that time, Very wealthy organizations, funders, churches, missionaries would go into community and they would bring the money. They would bring the team. They would bring the staff. They would bring the structure and they would bring the program, right? And so they would look for a local community organization or community group to run the program. Right. So they would bring the money, they would bring the aid, they would bring the staff, they would bring the team, but they would look for local groups to execute the program. So they would pay for the program to be executed. And so these groups were only implementers. All they did was run the program. That's all they did, ran the programs. But those programs were funded by these larger entities, right? So then what happened? Those larger entities left. Those larger entities left the communities, left the villages. They left. And what did they leave? They left nothing. So now these groups that were formally implementing a program, but were using the larger organization's money, now that money is gone, and these local organizations, these local groups don't have the funding now. They also did not receive the education, the knowledge, the clarity on how to run or keep running the program. That as soon as the money was gone, the program stopped. As soon as those partners, as soon as those influencers, as soon as those dollars left, those organizations and those programs were left not knowing how to continue the work. They did not bring training. They did not bring education. They did not bring understanding of how to sustain this work in these particular communities. When the money left, the programs stopped. And now that mindset of, let me start a program that's doing good. Let me start a program that's helping the homeless, that's feeding those that are hungry. Let me help those that need jobs and job creations. But I, as an organization now, we don't know how to run it. We don't know how to fund it. We don't know how to maintain it. Why? Because the money we don't have, but the mindset of, I don't know. I don't know how to run it. I don't know how to set it up. I don't know how to sustain it. I don't know how to keep it, has kept going. So now you're stuck. I need a grant. And so the person that says, start a nonprofit, you can get a grant. Start a nonprofit, you can get partners. You know what? If you got a donor, if you got donors, if you could fundraise, then your program would be able to continue. But what did that do? That left you in the mindset of, I need to wait until somebody that has a lot of money brings and comes and rescues me, instead of setting up your own structure, your own plan, your own strategy to sustain it. You need donors, you need funders, you need partners, you need collaborators, but you also need to know how to get it for yourself. You need to know how to put together the fundraising plan. You need to know how to put together the donor acquisition strategy. Those other organizations did it. The ones that came into communities did it. But they've left you thinking that you don't know how. You can't know how. Now you're stuck. And here we are today with AI. AI. And the online tools, right? Let's talk about how AI has accelerated this problem, normalized this problem, scaled this problem. This problem of what? You still don't know how to run your organizations. You still don't know how to convey and converse about why this work matters. You are still in the mindset of, I'm just here to implement a program. I'm just here to implement a program. I don't know how to fund it. I don't know how to scale it. I don't know how to sustain it. I'm just here, Jen. I'm just wait for somebody to give me some money so that I can execute the program. That's it. Today, I want to explain exactly how, in as plain a language as I can. I want to explain it so clearly that a 7-year old can understand it. Okay. In the past, even if people believed funding would come first, right? There was still some friction, right? If you're waiting on, if I start this nonprofit, funding will come. If I get my paperwork, I can get a grant. If I organize, right, put together my board, the paperwork, I can get funding. So in your mind, you believed that funding would come first. So what did you do? In the past, in the past, people had to wait for the paperwork. People had to ask professionals. People had to struggle through the process of learning. People had to slow down to think, to strategize. And people became impatient. That friction of knowledge and understanding and clarity felt like a speed bump. Felt like, I gotta wait. But the belief underneath stayed the same, right? That when those dollars left, when those donors, when those funders, when those large missionaries, when those large organizations left, the organizations had to wait for the paperwork. They had to get help, right? They had to learn. They had to be trained. And they felt like that's a speed bump. No, I want to start doing the work. I want to do the program. But the belief around that is if the need is real, someone will fund it, right? That's what happened. There was hunger. There was a large AIDS epidemic. There was homelessness. There was crisis. And so these large organizations swept in because they saw a huge need and they brought money. They brought money and they needed people to execute the program, right? So the idea was if the need is real, someone will fund it, right? So now here you all are. Y'all are coming up with, I want to do this, Jen. I want to feed the homeless. Jen, I want to do tiny homes. Jen, I want to do transitional housing. Jen, I want to help single moms. Jen, I want to build food shelters. Nothing wrong with that, right? You want to do good. The need is real. And now you're sitting thinking, if I do it, because the need is real, then someone will swoop in and fund it. All I have to do is be the implementer. All I have to do is execute it. Somebody's going to fund it. And that's a mindset that is not true today. AI and the online platforms removed the speed bump, but kept the belief. What's the speed bump gone now? So now you can say, right? Now I can do the paperwork. Do the paperwork. You can get a grant. Start a nonprofit. You can get a grant. You know what? If you start a nonprofit, you can get funding. You know what? If you start a nonprofit, you can get donors. If you start a nonprofit, you can get partners. And so now what do we have? You have the same dependency mindset. But now with AI and these online tools, it's moving at 10 times the speed, but not the progress. That you all are now starting your nonprofits with no direction on how to fund it, how to sustain it, how to grow it. How do we know? Jen, I started my nonprofit, but I don't know how to raise money. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but I don't know how to get funders. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but I don't know how to get board members. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but I don't know how to scale. You started the process. with no direction. Why? Because you thought if I do good, if I just do something good, then somebody is going to come and fund it. And so the paperwork became your focus. Your paperwork, which gave you permission to start doing your program. And now you're funding it out of your pocket. Now you don't know how to get donors. Now you don't know how to find board members. Now you don't know how to train your board members to help you raise money. Now you don't know what to say to a donor or a funder. Now you've got the expense of a program because you're waiting on somebody to come and save you because you don't know where to start. You started without a plan. You started without clarity. You started without knowing. You started thinking somebody is going to come and give me money to save me. I want to explain this like I'm talking to a child. Getting paperwork is like getting a birth certificate. Getting your nonprofit paperwork, registering your NGO, filing that 1023 form, getting your 501c3 status. It's like getting a birth certificate. It proves you exist. It just proves you exist. It doesn't mean you can walk. It doesn't mean you can eat. It doesn't mean you can think. It doesn't mean that you can survive. That's not what it means. It just means you exist. Before, now I've been doing this work for 39 years. 39 years ago, the paperwork took time. To get your paperwork, it took longer than 6 weeks. It took longer than 8 weeks. It took time. And so while you waited for that time to pass, planning was unavoidable. Did you hear what I said? Planning was a requirement. But now that you have these online platforms, now you have AI, right? Now you've got instant formation. You can get your EIN within seconds. You can put together a board, your mother, your brother, your dog, your cat, your fish, to put on the form. You can fill out the form, the 1023 form, online. So now you as a leader is thinking, oh my gosh, we're official. We just need funding. We're official now. We got our paperwork completed. We got people on our board. We got our bylaws. We're official. We just need funding. But funders don't give money because you're official. I'm going to say that again. The funders are not giving you money because you're official. They're giving the money because you are operational. Paperwork equals permission. Your structure equals your capability. Again, when these organizations came into communities, when these large funded organizations came into communities, they brought the experts, they brought the funding, they brought the knowledge of where money came from. They just didn't transfer it to you, right? They came with the funds and they expected you to execute the program. They came with the program, you execute the program. They gave the money, you did the executing. But then when the money left, they left you ignorant. I don't know how to structure this thing to keep it going. I don't know how to sustain it. I don't know how to scale it. I don't know how to grow it. I don't know where and how the money came from them. I don't know how they got it. I don't know where and how to support or train or even to develop the people so that we can keep it going. They left without explaining the structure of running the organization. They just gave you the money to run a program. They just gave you the money to run a program. They did not tell you that what you started was an organization. You didn't start a program. You did not start a program. And for many of you, you think you started a program because somebody's going to give me money to do a program. All I got to do is start a nonprofit, Jen. I can get a grant. Start a nonprofit. You can get funding. And so now that mindset has continued. Listen, AI gives answers, but it doesn't give understanding. AI is powerful, but it does something very specific. AI can write bylaws. AI can draft mission statements. AI can generate grant proposals. AI can even create budgets. But AI cannot build leadership maturity. AI cannot create structure and create sustainability. AI cannot explain, right, how to develop your team so that they are equipped and capable to help this organization grow financially. AI can't do that. Here's a child level version. AI is like copying homework. AI is like copying homework. You turned something in, but you didn't learn the lesson. I'm going to say that again. AI is like copying homework. You have something to turn in, but you didn't learn the lesson. So what happens? You now wind up being an organization with documents and paperwork that look right, language that sounds professional, proposals that read well, right? A mission that AI came up with sounds good, but underneath, there's no systems. Jen, I don't know how to raise money. Jen, I don't know how to I don't know how to get board members. Jen, I don't know how to write a budget. Jen, I don't know how to develop or even to evaluate my program. You have no governance, right? You are the CEO. You are the executive director. You are the founder of your organization. And I don't know how to put together a fundraising plan, Jen. I don't know how to develop the revenue or even to diversify the revenue. Jen, I don't even know where to begin. Jen, I don't know what to do first, right? AI made you look real good, honey. You turned in the paperwork, but underneath, you don't have a system, you don't have a structure, you don't know how. All you have is organization on paper. And so now what's happened? Paper organizations are born. Paper organizations are born. Jen, I have everything. I got my 501c3, but I don't have a board, Jen, that can help me. Jen, I have my nonprofit status. I have my program, Jen, but I don't know how to fundraise. I don't know how to train my staff. I don't know how to put together the systems and the structures to continue this work. You are a paper organization. Now we're in a place where templates. Jen, can you give me a template? Jen, can you give me a guide? Jen, let me go on Google. Let me go on Google. Let me ask AI what to do. And so now templates, which are only tools, they're not teachers. They're not teachers. And so now AI, Canva, Google Docs has created a culture of just fill this in. Just customize this. Just submit this. But your nonprofit is not a machine. Your nonprofit is not a machine. It's a business. It's an organization that has an intention and a purpose to benefit the community. It's not a template. Your nonprofit is not a template. It's an organization with a mission to benefit the community. It's an organization. It's a real organization. So it needs what? It needs decision-making systems. It needs financial controls. It needs leadership clarity. It needs internal discipline. It needs transparency. It needs communications. Templates that you all are seeking hides complexity. The templates hide the strategy of how was this template created? What was needed to create this template? And then how do I explain the relevance and the importance of this template to somebody else in the organization? Now you can't do that. You just got the template. You don't know how it was created. So now what? You've got a template, but you can't teach it. You can't teach it. You can't explain it. So now you got board members who can't help you raise money. Jen, I got board members, but they're not helping me. Jen, I got board members, but they're not engaged. And I have been racking my brain for years trying to understand, how is this possible? How is it that you got people on the board, but they don't know what to do? How is it that you have people on your board, but they don't know what to do? I'm like, you don't know what to do. You're the executive director. You're the one that put them on the board. You didn't know what they were supposed to do. How do we know? You didn't tell them what they were supposed to do. You didn't even ask them, could you do it? You just put them on the board because somewhere you heard I'm supposed to have board members. I don't even know why I need board members, Jen. I don't even know what their role and responsibility is. I was just told that I'm supposed to have some directors. So I just went out and found some. I put my mother, my brother, my dog, my cat, my fish on my board, but now they can't help me. Why can't they help me? Why? Oh, you don't know how to teach them. You don't know how to show them what to do. So now you're moving faster, right? You're getting your paperwork done. You're starting your programs. You're spending the money, but now you're shallow. You got a program, but I don't know how to evaluate my program. I got a program, but I don't know if my program achieves my mission. I got a program, but I don't know how much it costs to run the program. I got a program, but I don't know how to talk about the importance of the program to the community. I got a program. So now you've moved faster, but now you're shallow. You're shallow, right? And AI has made it even easier to apply for grants. But that didn't make your nonprofit stronger. It made it easier to find grants, to generate proposals, to apply repetitively, right? But it also flooded funders. It also increased the number of applications going to grant funders. It also increased low quality applications. It also encouraged premature grant chasing. Jen, I got an idea. Can I get a grant? Jen, I just started my program. I need grants. Jen, is there a startup grant? Jen, is there a grant that's going to get me a building? Jen, I got a program and this is what I want to do. Is there a grant that will pay for what I want to do? Jen, I started my program and it's amazing. I've been paying for everything out of my pocket. But if I got a sponsor, or if I got a partner, or if I got a grant, then somebody else could do what I'm doing. Somebody else could pay for it. So what did that mean? That means you learned the wrong lesson. You learned that if we apply enough times, we'll get lucky, right? The more proposals we put out, we'll get lucky. Instead of, if we build readiness, we'll be competitive. But Lord, that's a speed bump. To learn how to do it? Oh my gosh, that's a speed bump, Jen. Right? You don't want to build readiness. Because if you were ready to write the grant, what does ready mean? Ready means you have a plan for sustainability. Ready means you have other streams of revenue. Ready means you have a budget, expenses, and revenue. Ready means you know how to build relationships and how to articulate the importance of what you do. Now you can be more competitive. Funders didn't change. Funders didn't change because they wanted to be difficult, because they wanted to put more guardrails. No, that's not why they changed. They changed because the volume of unready organizations exploded. Y'all don't even understand. I right now have almost 6,000 people in my inbox right now, saying to me, Jen, I started my nonprofit, but we don't have any funds. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but we don't have any boards. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but we don't have any funding. Jen, I started my nonprofit and we need grants. Jen, I started my nonprofit and we need partners. And I'm thinking, before you found me, where were your partners coming from? I was funding everything out of my pocket, Jen. We didn't have any partners. Well, how long have you had your program? I've had my program now, Jen, about 3 years, 4 years, 5 years and more. So you don't know how to make it fundable? You don't know how to scale the revenue? You're waiting. You are waiting for somebody to do it for you. You're waiting for somebody to do it for you. The old system, 39 years ago, it forced pauses. You had to ask, do we have a board? Can we manage the money? What's our strategy to diversify funding streams? That was the old system, right? While you waited for the paperwork to come, it may take 6 months back then. There was no automation. But now, organizations can be formed in a matter of days. Grants can be identified in weeks. Programs can be launched immediately. And now, no one pauses to learn. So organizations don't fail slower. They collapse faster. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but we had to stop. Jen, I started my nonprofit and we had to end our program because we ran out of money. Jen, I started my nonprofit, but I'm stuck. I don't know what to do next. Organizations don't fail slower. They collapse quicker. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. And this is the most dangerous part, that you as leaders who've never run a nonprofit, never started a nonprofit, never worked in a nonprofit, never led a nonprofit, in your mind, you think someone's going to give you money for doing something good. Nothing wrong with doing good, but that's not why people give you money. You think our documents look professional. Our proposal sounds strong. AI wrote it better than I ever could, right? That all I got to do is ask AI and it'll give me the answer. Let me go to AI. AI will tell me what to do. But let me tell you what funders see. Okay? You think, oh, we look professional. We got our paperwork. We got our 501c3. We're ready to go, Jim. We got everything. We got a mission statement, but no, I can't explain why my mission matters. I have a mission statement, Jen, but I can't explain how my program accomplishes the mission. I can't explain that. I don't know how to explain that. I mean, we know, Jen, that we got a program and that our program works, but I don't know how to explain the need for the program. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to put together a budget for this program. I just know that AI wrote out a business plan, but I don't know how to execute the plan. I don't know how to do that. I know I'm supposed to have a board, Jen, but I don't know how to find board members. I don't know how to find board members. I don't know how to train the board members. I don't even know the roles and responsibilities of the board. I mean, I know that there's supposed to be a president. I know there's supposed to be a secretary. I know there's supposed to be a treasurer, but I don't know after that what they're supposed to do. Let me tell you what the funder sees. The funder sees weak control. They see no operating history. They see no sustainability plan. They see that you have people on your board, but are not helping you keep the organization sustained. They see you doing everything by yourself. No, no, Jen, we don't have any board members. No, Jen, we don't have any donors. No, Jen, we don't have any funders or supporters. Jen, I'm funding everything out of my own pocket. I'm funding everything out of my own pocket, Jen. What does that look like? That looks like your organization is not needed in the community. That's what that looks like. That's what it looks like. Now, you don't know that. You think I'm holding it all together, Jen. I'm funding everything out of my pocket. I just need a grant. I just need donors. But what does the donor see? When you are a community-based organization with no support, no engagement from the community, how come the community is not supporting it? If you are a community-based organization, how come your community is not supporting it? Crickets. You don't even know. You don't even know that you have 15 streams of revenue. You don't even know when I tell people you have 15 streams of revenue, money is not your problem. What? There's 15 streams of revenue? I didn't know that. I didn't know that there were 15 streams of revenue. Everybody has eight. I didn't know I had eight streams of revenue, Jen. Let me tell you what AI has done. It's not AI's fault, but it has created confidence without competence. And funders can tell the difference immediately. Immediately. Funders can tell the difference immediately. Again, back at a time where organizations came into communities and they were looking for people to execute program. And they brought the money, they brought the team, they brought the staff, and they brought the program. And all they were looking for was to fund organizations or communities that would execute the program. But what they did not share and show or convey, that the organizational administration, the organizational structure, The organizational overhead was not the program. And when those dollars left, these communities were left not equipped to duplicate what that group left. They weren't able to duplicate it. When these ministries, when these missionaries, when these organizations, when these funders left and they took their money with them, now these programs, these organizations, these communities are left not knowing how to sustain that work. Now, AI did not invent that, right? It fed it. And so now you're thinking, all I need is a grant. So, admin, your organizational structure, your knowledge of how do I raise the money? What does it cost to run the organization? How do I develop team? And who is responsible for these types of roles and things? All of that thing. What about the structure of your organization? The myth has left passion is enough. Passion is enough, right? All I need is passion. All I need is passion to do good, and somebody will give me money. And that's not true. This is the reality. Your nonprofit, your operations, your communications operations, your funding operations, your leadership operations, your ability to scale financially, and your program impact process. Those operations of being able to describe and articulate with the community why your organization matters. Those operations, that structure protects your program. That your administration, the structure of your organization sustains the impact. Structure is what builds trust with the donor and the funder. Because now there's so many of you, the funder is saying, we can't fund all these organizations. We've now got to identify the organizations that are structured to sustain themselves. That's what it says in the grant application. What's your plan for sustainability? Where else does money come from? They want to know who else is funding this organization. Why do they want to know that? Because they're like, we're not going to be the only ones funding it. It's impossible. So now you've been taught all I need is passion. Passion without a structure, passion without knowledge of how to run the organization. And what does that lead to? Burnout. Jen, I got a lot of passion, but I'm tired. Jen, I got a lot of passion. I want to do this work, but now I've been doing everything by myself, and now I'm burnt out. I started it, Jen, and I've been running it by myself, and I'm just burnt out. You're caring. You don't get credit for caring. The donor and the funder is not funding your caring, what you want to do. They've got to trust that you know how to manage the organization responsibly. But see, that's not what y'all have been taught. Y'all ain't been taught that. You've been told, start a nonprofit. You can get a grant. You know what? You can get donors. You can get funding. You can have a gala. Jen, if I do a GoFundMe, will I be able to raise money, Jen? If I did a GoFundMe, will somebody give me money because I care? Nothing wrong with caring, but that's not why they give money. And then you've not even thought about, what do I do after I start? I started the nonprofit, but now I don't know what to do next. I started the nonprofit, but I don't know how to scale it. I don't know how to fund it. Jen, I started my nonprofit and everybody's a volunteer. Everybody's a volunteer, Jen. Nobody gets paid. Everybody's a volunteer, Jen. Why? Because we're not able to hire help. We don't have the money to be able to bring in supporters and contributors that can help us grow and scale this. We don't have the money. Listen, AI now has exacerbated an illusion. that nonprofit leadership is a shortcut. That you can put your name on a piece of paper on that 1023 form. You can put your name down as a director. You can put your name down as founder. You can put your name down as executive director. You can put your name down as CEO. And so you can say, I started it, but can you run it for sustainability? No. No, I can put my name down that I started it, but I don't know how to run it, Jen. I don't know how to scale it. I don't know how to generate revenue for it. I don't know how to build a team. I don't know how to train the team. I don't know, Jen, how to even find donors and supporters of it. It has made you think that nonprofit leadership is a shortcut. No one would say, I watched videos, so I'm a surgeon. I used templates, so now I'm an accountant. But people say it about nonprofit leadership. And that's why the organization is struggling. That's why the organization is struggling. Right? And these jackals out here will tell you, you can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. You don't need to hire help. You don't need an expert. You can do it yourself. You can start a nonprofit by yourself. You can write a grant by yourself. You can do everything you want to do by yourself. Well, you can fund it by yourself. Because those that hold the keys to the grants, the donations, the contributions, they're not funding what you started. Did you hear what I said? They're not funding what you started. These donors and funders, what do they see? They see thousands of registered nonprofits. Everybody got a 501c3. Everybody did the paperwork, but very few that know how to sustain themselves. Very few leaders that can articulate what is the mission and why does the mission matter. Very few people that can have and hold conversation about how much money it costs to run the organization and how is this organization going to sustain itself. So what does that mean? Now the funders see thousands of registered organizations, but very shallow operations. Yeah, Jen, I have my CRM, but I don't know how to use it. Jen, I have a board, but they're not helping me. Jen, I don't have a fundraising plan. I'm paying for everything out of my own pocket. Jen, we don't have any donors or supporters. We can't even find community help. That means you're very shallow. Why is it that you're shallow? The funder sees you as high risk. They see you low sustainability, that you'll go for a while and then have to stop. And that's why funding is harder to get. Funding is not hard. Raising money is not hard. But for those of you that are just nonprofit on paper only, yeah, fundraising is hard. The requirements are strict. You don't have any capacity. You have no capacity. No capacity to build a team, no capacity to train a team. Your organization holds HR. Have y'all ever worked in a company that had HR? HR is the person that says, we know who all the roles, responsibilities, and the job descriptions are. You all have started a whole nonprofit and you don't even know the job descriptions of running the organization. All you're focused on is the program because you think somebody's going to give you money to run that program. And that's not true. That's not true. Listen, because the nonprofit system is overloaded, I say this every day. How many of you guys have heard me say 87 out of 100 of you are going to fail? I've said this. I say out of 100 nonprofits, 87 of you are going to fail. Why? Because you're a name only. You're a nonprofit in name only. You don't have the knowledge, you don't have the clarity, you don't have the capacity, you don't have the understanding, you don't have the experience of running a nonprofit. And you've chosen to skip that part because you think AI can tell you what to do, but it can't do it for you. Let me say this. This is the truth. And let me say this plainly. AI is not the villain, but it has made it easy to look ready without being ready. And let me tell you who can tell you're not ready. Your funders can tell. You're not fooling anybody. Your funders know you're not ready. Your funders know that you have a mission that AI wrote for you, but you can't explain why it matters. You can explain what you do, but you can't explain the impact of what you do. You can't even describe the budget for what you do. You don't even have a system to sustain what you do. You don't know the difference between a program or an organization. AI is used as a tool that supports learning. It reinforces what you already know. It speeds execution after structure exists. AI cannot replace education. AI cannot replace governance. AI cannot cause you to skip accountability. AI cannot have you chase funding and not be ready for funding. Let me write this down. I want you to write this down. AI can help you write documents. AI can help you write documents. It cannot help you run an organization. Running an organization must be learned, not generated. And once leaders understand that, everything about you will change. Everything will change. I shared with you all that as I was coming up in my career, I used to help 1,000 organizations nationally and internationally run their organizations, sustain their organizations, put together plans and strategies for their nonprofit organizations to be sustained. Nowadays, you all want to skip all those steps and go straight from, this is what I want to do. I filled out the paperwork. I need a grant. And that's not the steps. Those are not the steps. You've got to know how to run the organization. And unfortunately, you all are maintaining a behavior and a mindset that someone will bring you funding just because you're doing good. Someone will give you their time and their money because you're a nonprofit organization. That someone will do it for you and you don't have to learn how to do it yourself. Money is not your problem. Money is not your problem. I've been saying this for years. Money is not your problem. Lack of knowledge is your problem. Lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge of what is it that the funder needs. How do I run this organization that I started? Where does resources come from and what do I need to have in place to get it? Y'all skipped straight over that and went straight to, I started my nonprofit, Jen. And now you're stuck. Money is not your problem. Knowledge is your problem. I offer several tools. I have a nonprofit startup guide. I have a nonprofit readiness checklist. I have trainings. I have communities. I am a nonprofit expert. I don't just start the nonprofit. I teach people how to run them. I teach people how to maintain and sustain them. If this resonates with you, if anything that I've said says, you know what, that's me, she's talking about me, then I look forward to having a conversation with you. If you're a person that says, Jen, I just need a handout, I just need somebody to go find me donors and funders so that I can do my program, I'm not your girl. I'm not your girl. I build nonprofits that are sustainable. I build nonprofit leaders that understand not just how to start an organization, but what is needed and what skill set and experience and structure is needed to sustain it. Okay. I want to say thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. Please leave your comments. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. And I hope that this information has been helpful to you. All right. I am Jennifer, your nonprofit expert, over 39 years of experience, helping you not just start, but to grow and to sustain yourself. I'll see you all next time.